Well, welcome back, everybody. If you saw me record my last take, it didn't go well. Technical difficulties, you know how it is. I had some NFL Red Zone playing in the background. Microphone wasn't good, so I decided to scrap it. I'm going to try again at this. This is From the Pocket. I am Jake. I am riding solo today. My co-host Christian is on the road, so everybody wish him safe travels. We just wrapped up most of week one. We have a couple games left. The Sunday night game is about to kick off. I think it's actually kicking off right now. And the 49ers and Jets play tomorrow night. So still got a couple more games left to watch and to go over. But nevertheless, wanted to still go over some of what has happened so far this week. And, just hit on some of the highlights, hit on some things that I really thought were interesting. So really quick, just want to kind of lay the ground foundation, right? So this is week one, so it is very much overreaction Monday. You're going to hear a lot of people say a lot of things. Everything is everything. If this team lost, it's because this team's bad. If this team won, there's a lot of stuff we don't know. And to be honest, it'll be the case for several weeks. We're not going to really know much until the first month of the season or so is over. There are some things we can discern. If you have somebody who struggled to stop the run last year and they are struggling to stop the run again this year, probably a good sign they're going to continue to do so. But we're going to go over some of it. So wanted to highlight a couple of games here. First, I wanted to talk about the Texans and the Colts. The Texans get a great win on the road against a division rival, 29-27. Not a back and forth game. The Texans led for almost all this game, but it was still a very close game throughout. CJ Stroud looked really good in this game. It looked like he's picking up right where he left off last year. A lot of people talk about the sophomore slump and whether or not that's going to affect him. It didn't look like it did this week. Very much doing what he did last year, rolling out, buying time, completing 40-yard passes to seemingly wide open receivers down the field. But to me, I think the highlight of this team was Joe Mixon. He had 159 yards. He was one of their key free agency acquisitions this offseason. He was great, and that's a great sign. That's got to be a great feeling if you're both the Texans and the Texans fan, because you sign all these guys and you kind of don't know who's going to pan out. Half of your free agents are probably not going to pan out. When they do pan out, you got to feel like you're really going in the right direction as a franchise, and that's what it feels like they are. So, a great win. They are now the only team in the AFC South with a win. They beat the Colts, and they did it on the road, and the Colts, I think, are a quality team. I have the Colts in the playoffs this year, possibly winning this division. The Jaguars blew a 10-point lead. The Titans blew a 17-point lead. So if you are rocking with the Texans, this was a great Sunday. As for the Colts, their defense was iffy. Last year they were 24th in stopping the run, and they really did struggle to stop the run in this one as well. Couldn't get off the field when it mattered most at the end. And again, Joe Mixon was really doing a lot of great things throughout. Jonathan Taylor struggled. He's traditionally had a lot of great games against this Texans defense. Not the case today. Despite all that, Anthony Richardson looks like he's that dude. Anthony Richardson was awesome. Had a slow start, 7 points in the first half, but he picked it up in the second half. Was down by multiple possessions a couple times. Never blinked. Kept it going. Got the score. Texans scored. Got the score again. He had a freakish pass in the first half. Just pressure in his face. Flinged it a 50-yard some odd dot. And then on 4th and goal at the end of the game to keep his team in it, he decided to run, and the Texans had him dead to rights. I mean, dead to rights on like the 3-yard line. You didn't get it. And he barrels his way into the end zone and scores, and it's a 2-point game, and now all of a sudden you're back in this thing. So Anthony Richardson was awesome. Big fan of what I saw there. Very happy. Really, really loved what I saw there for the Colts, even though they didn't get the win. I'm very optimistic about them. Most of my hopes on the Colts this year, as I think for everybody, hinged on whether or not Anthony Richardson would be that guy. And through 1 week, he seems like he is going to be that guy. Let me just type this really quick. All right. Sorry about that. So, moving on, we'll talk about the Steelers-Falcons really quick. The Steelers were underdogs in this game, which I really did not understand. They were 3.5-point underdogs to the Falcons. I was super, super high on the Steelers going into this game. They are, they have so much more continuity than the Falcons did. The Falcons are coming in with a new quarterback off an Achilles tear, 36 years old. They have a new coach, new staff. And the Steelers, I get that they have a new quarterback, but that's not the identity of this team, as we know. They have TJ Watt healthy. Mike Tomlin is a dog, is great, and they showed out. They won with only field goals. They got 18 points all through field goals. But the other element to this that the big reason I liked the Steelers was because Mike Tomlin is a very smart coach, and I know Mike Tomlin has to be aware of how hard his team's schedule gets as the season goes on. That back half of the Steelers is brutal, and I imagine Mike Tomlin is telling his team, if he's not telling them, he knows how important it is to win these early games. These are winnable games against the Falcons that they have, for example. You have to get a win here if you want any hope to make noise this year as you go into that back half stretch. And they did. They played like they needed this game. The Falcons looked out of sorts. They looked like their entire thing was not kind of installed. And congrats to the Steelers. TJ Watt was an animal, just interrupted this game all game long, was phenomenal. Justin Fields gets a last-minute start because Russell Wilson's dealing with an injury. He was okay. Kirk Cousins had 2 picks. So, loved what the Steelers did. I still think the Falcons are going to win this division. I didn't have them winning this game. I have them going 9-8. I think they're only going to need 9 wins to win this division. So, I'm not at all selling the Falcons because of this loss. I didn't not pick the Falcons because I don't believe in them that much. I just did not think this was a good spot for them with how much newness they had going up against a very, very tough, frisky Steelers team. So good for the Steelers. They get the win. Bears-Titans was another one I wanted to talk about. Caleb Williams' debut. Caleb Williams was not great. He was not great in this game. He had 14 for 29, 93 yards, no touchdowns, no picks. Had some moments where he held onto the ball for way too long, made some rookie mistakes. That offense really just did not get going at all. They fell down 17-0 early in the game, but they pulled it out. They got a win. They had a punt return for a touchdown. Their offense got it rolling late. Their defense stepped up and got some key stops. It was a real team win, and I think if you're a Bears fan, you have to feel really good about this win. Of course, everybody wants their young, talented quarterback to come out and ball, but that's not always the reality, especially with rookies. Caleb Williams, the expectation should not have been for him to come out and ball in this game, and he didn't. But they got a quality team win. They got a team win from behind. They took care of business. They got a special teams touchdown. That's exactly what you would want to see if you're a Bears fan. Again, it's nice when your quarterback's great and winning you games, but when that's all you have as a team, that is a really finicky thing, especially when your quarterback's young, especially when he's a rookie. Like, week to week, you never know what you're going to get from a rookie quarterback. So when, as a team, you can come behind and get the win the way they did, you've got to feel good about that. And they should. They won 24-17, scored 24 unanswered points between the end of the second quarter and the rest of the game. So congrats to the Bears. Good win for them. Caleb Williams will get better. And when he does get better, I mean, this Bears team could be worth talking about. I mean, I know a lot of people, mixed reviews on the Bears, right? A lot of people have them in the playoffs. Christian and I have them missing the playoffs, but you know, if this Bears team can kind of play this cohesive way they did, and they get a Caleb Williams that's getting better as the season goes on, hey, that's a potent combination. So good for the Bears. Congrats to the Bears. They get a win. The Vikings also got a win. The Packers got a loss, and we'll see what the Lions do. But, you know, all in all, Bears got to feel good. They're 1-0. As for the Titans, I don't know what to tell you. Your team's just not that good. Your team's going to be frisky. They came out with a good game plan. I don't know if they just didn't adjust in the second half. I don't know if their talent they're just not as talented as the Bears. I don't know what it was, but as a Titans fan, it's got to be tough. Got to be tough. So you're going to lose a lot of games this way where you're going to be frisky and it's going to feel like you might actually have it, and then you're probably just going to lose because, you know, this league is so much about situational awareness and taking care of business at the end of games, and it doesn't seem like the Titans have that, especially with Will Levis, who just does not seem like a great quarterback. I also wanted to talk about the Cowboys-Browns. The Cowboys get the win 33-17, I think was the final score. I started doing some podcast prep, so the ending of these kind of afternoon games, I don't have all the stat lines together for, but some headlines going into this game. Dak got signed, long-awaited signing, $240 million over 4 years, $231 of it guaranteed, $80 million, I think, signing bonus. This was also Tom Brady's first game in the booth. And, some very key headlines going into this game. As far as the game goes, the Cowboys, they took care of business. They got off to a bit of a slow start with some penalties and a sack, but their offense got rolling. They were up. They scored 27 unanswered points at one point in this game. They were up by 3 possessions going into halftime. And I think at halftime, they kind of just packed it in and said, okay, we're just going to kind of play conservative here. They got a special teams touchdown to open up the second half. The Browns, their defensive line was fine. It got some pressure. Their secondary was hit and miss. They're missing Nick Chubb. Their run game was fine. I think David Njoku left with an injury. I don't know what his status is, but for the Browns, Deshaun Watson was bad. He's bad, and he is a bad quarterback now. If you're a Browns fan, I feel so sorry that you have to live with Deshaun Watson as your quarterback. He was just pitiful in this game. And I don't want to put it all on him. They are missing 2 tackles. Their offensive line is a bit banged up, and that Cowboys pass. The Cowboys do what the Cowboys do, right? They get a lead on you, and they just beat you up. And you kind of just got to take it. You kind of got to deal with it. That's what happened here. But Deshaun Watson didn't do himself any favors. Missing passes, sailing balls, scrambling out and putting himself in bad situations where he's just, there was one third down where he's rolling out to his right, and I think DeMarvin Overshawn comes up and is going to sack him, and instead of trying to get rid of the ball, he just kind of takes the sack, and it was brutal. As for the Cowboys, again, they did what they do. They get a lead on you, and they just beat you up. I don't know what this means for the Cowboys. I'm a Cowboys fan. I'm going to try really hard not to buy into the hype this year. This game didn't convince me. I know the Browns are a pretty good team on the road, too, so there's some key things and components about the Cowboys that you got to like about this win, but I'm not, again, overreaction Monday. I'm not going to overreact to a win. I'm going to wait and see. The Cowboys got some very tough games coming up. They play the Ravens in a couple weeks. I think they play the Saints next week, who are obviously coming off a big win. So we will see. We will see how that goes. Those are the... and I'm sorry. I had one more game I wanted to highlight in depth a little bit. The Bengals and the Patriots. Boy, oh boy. The Bengals lose to the Patriots at home, 16-10, 8.5 point favorites, and just awful. Just a terrible, terrible loss. Got it going really slow in the first half, didn't do anything, kind of turned it on at the end, but it was a little too late. They had a chance to win it at the end with a long drive, and they couldn't put it together. Ramondre Stevenson for the Patriots had 120 yards and a touchdown, so the Patriots also did great in the run scheme. They did a great job protecting Jacoby Brissett. I think they only gave up 1 sack. Bengals had 2 turnovers. I don't know what this was. I don't know if this was the Bengals overlooking the Patriots because they have the Chiefs in week 2 in Arrowhead. I don't know if this is just the Bengals getting off to the slow start they do, but this is an absolutely unacceptable loss. I'm very high on the Bengals this year. I have very high hopes for them and what they can achieve. And when, in the AFC, when you're one of the core teams competing and you're trying to get the 1 seed, every win matters. I mean, you're going to need 13 wins this year probably to get the number 1 seed in the AFC, and they already have to play the Steelers, the Browns, the Ravens twice. They already got to play the Chiefs. When your margin of error is that thin, you cannot be giving away games at home against bad teams that you have weeks to prepare for. The Bengals had weeks to prepare for this game, and I mean the Patriots are going in with pretty much a new quarterback in Jacoby Brissett. I think Jacoby Brissett, I know he used to play for the Patriots. I don't think he played for them last year. New coach in Gerard Mayo. You cannot afford to lose this game here. You have to find a way to pull it out. And it felt like for a long time, okay, this is going to be a nitty-gritty win by the Bengals. And at one point, it was just they're going to lose this game, aren't they? And they did. So Boo for the Bengals. Congrats to the Patriots. Gerard Mayo gets his first win. I think this is exactly how the Patriots want their team to look, kind of these very low-scoring, ugly wins. I don't think they're going to get a lot of them, but, hey, for week one, it'll work. And you've got a great quality win against a quality team on the road, so congrats to the Patriots. Some other highlights. Rookie struggled. Caleb Williams, we already talked about. Bo Nix struggled against the Seahawks, 27 for 43, 135 yards, 2 picks. Jaden Daniels struggled against the Bucks. He had some highlight flash plays, but all in all, this is what it is to be a rookie in the NFL. You're going to struggle, and they all did. So, we'll see how they go. I'm sure they all progress. I'm pretty high on all 3 of them, so I have confidence that they will get better as time goes on. But through 1 week is tough. It was tough. Some quick highlights. I wanted to talk about the Chiefs-Ravens and the Eagles-Packers from Thursday and Friday. Chiefs win, 27-20. We had the Chiefs winning. Christian and I did. It was exactly what I thought with the Ravens. They had 3 new offensive linemen, new defensive staff, some new defensive pieces, and it looked like they did. Their offensive line was tough. They put too much on Lamar. They were doing quick passes. Derrick Henry all but disappeared after the first drive. This was why I wasn't big on the Ravens winning this game. I just did not think it was a good spot for them going into Arrowhead on banner night. The Chiefs did not lose that much. They gained really more than they lost. Xavier Worthy looks like he's going to be a stud for them in that offense. Yeah, I'm not going to fault the Ravens. It was just a bad spot. It was a tough break for them to have to play this Chiefs team in week 1. But I also think the Chiefs, the Ravens will be fine. I have them making the playoffs. I have them competing for this division. And I think we're just too hard on quarterbacks who lose to Patrick Mahomes. I mean, nobody's beating Patrick Mahomes. There was people who were saying this is a must-win game for Lamar. It's like, no, it's not. There's no such thing as a must-win game in week 1, even for playoff seedings. They have plenty of time to turn this around. I'm not beating up a quarterback because he lost to Patrick Mahomes. I'm just not. Eagles and Packers. This was an ugly game, although it was a high-scoring game, 34-29. Eagles get the win. Jordan Love, kind of the highlight there. He leaves with what we found out would be a sprained MCL, so he'll be out for a few weeks. Saquon Barkley balled out, solid for the Eagles. We'll see if he can keep that up. He had 24 touches in this one. I don't think he'll be that active throughout the season. I think, A, they wanted to get him involved because he's their new kind of acquisition, but also, B, I think they understood the Packers aren't great at stopping the run, and the Packers yet again struggled to stop the run. Jalen Hurts was not good in this game. I did not think he was good. He 20 for 34, had 4 passes in this game that really should have been interceptions. 2 of them were. Forced a lot of passes. This is my big thing with Jalen Hurts and a pass-first offense, which is what Kellen Moore's going to bring. You're asking Jalen Hurts to lead the offense through the pass. I just don't think he's going to do that successfully. And, again, it's week 1, not going to overreact, but this is exactly kind of what I thought we might see is him make questionable decisions. He's, off script running, he's good. He had some great runs at the end of the game to seal it away, but when you have the option reads, it's just not working. It didn't work last year. It didn't work in this game, so something to keep an eye on. I'm a little down on the Eagles for that. Their defense was fine. Their defensive line was iffy. I was a little disappointed in that element of it. As for the Packers, their defensive struggles continue. Can't stop the run, can't get off the field when it matters most situationally on defense. Really tough. They gave the Eagles back the ball with 6 minutes left. It's like, just get a stop. Just get a stop. And they could not do it until there was 25 seconds left. So, yeah, sucks for the Packers to lose this game and then lose their quarterback for a month. It really does feel like if they can't figure out their quarterback position over the next month, Jordan Love's going to come back and this team's going to be, 1-4? Maybe? If they can find 2 wins, great. But, if they start getting into that 1-4 territory, their season could be over. So, a little bit scary for the Packers. We'll see how they do. This NFC's improved. They're in a tough division. Packers were one of those fan bases I think had a really tough weekend. Just some other quick highlights. Cardinals and Bills got into a shootout. Cardinals get up early. Bills come back. Bills end up getting the win. It was a really great game. I was a little disappointed that the Cardinals couldn't close it out, but I am bullish on the Cardinals this year. I have them going 9-8, sneaking into the playoffs. On the road against the Bills, this is kind of what I wanted to see. I wanted to see them put up a fight, and they did. So congrats to the Cardinals on that, even though they didn't get the win. But also congrats to the Bills. They were down in this game, and they came from behind, and they really established themselves. I am pretty high on the Bills. I have them winning their division this year, so anybody who thought the Bills were just going to roll over and not be a good team because they lost Stephon Diggs and some defensive pieces, no. Their defense looked a little sketchy early, not going to lie, but I expect this defense to be fine. They lost half their defense to injuries last year, and they were still good, so... Vikings-Giants, not too much to say here. Giants got thumped. Vikings looked really good on the road against the Giants. So congrats to Sam Darnold. He had 8 straight completions to start the game or something. So Sam Darnold looked really good in this game. The Giants did not. The Giants just struggled all game long. And then the Panthers and the Saints. I don't even know what to say about this game. This was an abomination. I can't believe this was even televised. This was horrible. I think the final score was 47-10. The Panthers were down 30-3 by halftime. Just awful. So it's probably made even worse. Not just because the Panthers got blown out, but because this is what they looked like last year. And I think a lot of people were hopeful that they were going to come in and kind of take a step forward with Dave Canales, who I like as a coach, some new offensive weapons, their defense a little bit of a work in progress, and they looked as lost as they were all year long last year. So if you're a Panthers fan, sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry that you had to see that. I'm sorry if you came in here with hope that your team might actually be frisky and you got that. Tough. Saints, I still don't believe in you. I'm sorry. You got a good win. You blew out this team. You play the Cowboys next week. We'll see how you do, but I don't know. It's that question of the Saints good or the Panthers bad. I don't know. We'll find out. And I think that's really all I got. I wanted to end this with some winners and some losers. So the big winners of the week and the big losers of the week. So to start, the Texans. They were one of my big winners. As I said, got a win on the road against a really good division rival, only team in the AFC to win. A lot of their acquisitions from the offseason look like they're paying dividends, so congrats to the Texans. Bears, quality win as a team when your rookie, young, talented quarterback's not playing well. Love to see that for y'all. Happy you got the win at home in your home opener. You don't want to be dropping a game to the Titans when you got a lot of tough games coming up, so congrats. And then the other winner is the Steelers. Got a win as an underdog on the road, took care of business with their backup quarterback in Justin Fields, won on only field goals, played really well situationally. Their defense showed up, made Kirk Cousins in his debut as a Falcon uncomfortable. Arthur Smith going back to Atlanta. He's now their offensive coordinator for the Steelers. Was the Falcons head coach last year. He gets a win against his old team, so that was cool. And then big losers. Panthers, again, not too much to say, just absolute embarrassment for them. Bengals lose a game you should against the Patriots. That's really bad, and again, that could come back to bite you. My third loser is a game I didn't talk about, the Jaguars. Jaguars were up by 10 points on the road against the Dolphins. Dolphins looked really shaky to start the game. Were down early. Tyreek Hill was detained this morning. I don't know if that had to do with kind of the distraction element, but they got it together. They put together a comeback, tied it, and then they got a game-winning field goal and won the game. For the Jaguars, again, not to overreact because it is only week one, and mathematically, there's a lot of things going on here, and a lot of stuff can change. But, I think the Jaguars and the Dolphins are both very similar in that they are both probably not the best team in their division, and they're both going to be competing for wild card spots in a loaded AFC. And when you're up by 10 points against a team that is probably going to be one of those teams you're competing against later on down the road, you got to put that game away. It's a very real possibility. We're going to get to the end of the year, and the Jaguars and the Dolphins are going to have the same record, and the tiebreaker is going to be that week one loss by the Jaguars. And maybe it cost them a playoff spot altogether. Maybe it just affects seeding. I don't know, but that is such a tough loss when you're up by multiple possessions and you just can't finish it off offensively. And again, 20 points, your defense holds the Dolphins to 20 points. You got to win that game offensively. You cannot only put up 17 points if you're Trevor Lawrence. So, especially when you just got paid and you have new weapons and such. So, and Brian Thomas Jr., for example. So, the Jaguars are one of my biggest losers. I'm going to try to do this again. I tried to do this last time. Christian wanted me to highlight for him while he's not here. Northern Illinois beating Notre Dame over the weekend. Notre Dame was ranked number 5. They beat them 16-14 with a field goal. I think, so again, I'm going to try to do this. It is the first non-conference victory against a ranked opponent since they beat number 21 Alabama in 2003, and it is their first victory over a top 10 opponent. So the coach is saying it's a program type changing win. That's Thomas Hammock, Northern Illinois' head coach. So congrats to them. That was great for them. Very happy. I'll let Christian again come in and kind of give more thoughts on that when he gets back. This is all from the Associated Press, by the way, that I'm reading from. But thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this weekend of football. I really appreciate you. I hope you had a great Sunday, and we still got a couple more games left to go. So please, like, subscribe, tell me what you thought. Give me your thoughts on what my opinions were. I'd love to hear back from you. Tell me I'm stupid. Tell me I'm brilliant. Either or. I love to hear it. So thank you so much. Have a great Sunday. Have a great week. Christian and I will be back on Wednesday to give our final thoughts on week 1. Christian give his tiers. I'll give my best bets. We're 2-2 on that. We'll see how the Jets do tomorrow. See if we get profitable. And we'll, of course, give our predictions for week 2. So take it easy, all. And, have a great day.